The truth behind helicopters. First, I'm going to give you a little background information. So who invented helicopters? Well, pretty much everybody knows that the Wright brothers invented the first airplane, but no one really gives any thought of where the helicopter came from. In fact, Leonardo da Vinci was the first one to conceptualize the helicopter with what he called the aerial screw. Well, this was never created. We do think it is the inspiration for today's helicopters. Now, the father of the modern-day helicopter is Igor Sikorsky, because in 1940 he created the first successfully flying helicopter for the Russians, the VS-300. So why were helicopters created? Well, people wanted to be able to take off and land from anywhere. With an airplane, you have to have a full runway and an airport to be able to take off and land. With a helicopter, you can land virtually anywhere with a small clearing. In fact, the kind of helicopters I fly have only about a 25-foot rotor span, which means all I need is about 40 feet of clearance to be able to land safely. I know there are a lot of things people believe about helicopters that really aren't very true. I think the first and biggest misconception about helicopters is that if you lose the engine, you're going to fall to the ground from 2,000 feet and be flying like a pancake. Really, this isn't true at all. If you lose the engine in a helicopter, the pilot can enter what's called an auto-rotation. This means he puts the helicopter into a full down descent, where he's going down as fast as he can. Now, originally, of course, this would sound like a bad thing, but because he's going down so fast, the air coming up through the blades in an auto-rotation actually keeps them spinning. This creates about a 3 to 5 second span of energy that can be used once you get down close to the ground. You can flare your helicopter just like you would an airplane before you land, and use that 35 seconds to slow yourself down and bring yourself to a stop right before you touch the ground, and set down without damaging the helicopter or injuring yourself. Which leads me to my next point. People believe helicopters are extremely unsafe. Again, because of, I just cleared up the engine thing, so that should give you a little bit of an easy mind. But in reality, helicopters are fundamentally safer than airplanes. Now, the first thing probably you would say, well, what if the rotor blades pop off? Well, the chances of the rotor blades popping off are about the same as the wings of an airplane being pulled off mid-flight. So it's really just not going to happen. But, so why are helicopters safer than airplanes? Well, think about it. Again, helicopters can land anywhere. If I hear a funny noise coming from my engine while I'm flying, I can set down and land in less than a minute and be sprinting away from my helicopter. With an airplane, I'm going to have to scramble for a map, find an airport, fly to the airport, and then land before I can get out of harm's way. Also, if I encounter some kind of unexpected weather system that can be bad, I could land and wait it out, whereas an airplane, I'd either have to fly around it, which I may not have enough fuel to do, or I'd have to fly through it, which could make for a very bad day. Another thing is the physics behind, people believe the physics behind a helicopter flight and airplane flight are completely different. Really, of course, on a big picture, this is true, but if we look at the small details and the actual laws of physics that govern helicopter and airplane flight, they're actually very similar. For example, who here remembers Bernoulli's effect, Bernoulli's principle? Remember? We learned about it a couple years ago. Bernoulli's principle states that the faster a gas travels, the lower its pressure. So let's take a look at this airplane wing. It's curved on top and flat on the bottom. This means that on top, the air going over the top of the wing has more distance to travel than the air going below the wing. Because it has more distance to travel, it has to speed up to be able to keep up with the air going below it. And since it has to speed up, it creates a lower pressure. This lower pressure sucks the wings upward, creating what we call lift, which is essential to airplane flight. Now let's take a look at a helicopter rotor blade. During flight, helicopters' rotor blades are tilted upward like you see here. Again, because it has more distance the air has more distance to travel when it goes over the top of the wing, it has to speed up, therefore decreases the pressure and pulls the wings upward. In helicopter terms, we call this the coning effect, as you can see here. When the blades spin fast, they actually pull up. Upward. Last myth is that people believe that helicopters are extremely easy to start up and fly, because especially this has been made popular in movies. You'll see someone hop in a helicopter, and within 15 seconds they're in the air and flying away as fast as they can. In reality, this just isn't going to happen. You have checklists to go through, like checking temperature, pressure gauges, circuit breakers, all sorts of things, and finally getting clearances before you can even take off. And these things are going to take you at least 15 minutes. Also, in the movies, they make it seem like it's very simple to fly a helicopter, when in reality, you have to have all four of your limbs on the controls at all times, otherwise you're going to crash. In fact, we've had autopilot for airplanes for almost 100 years, and it still hasn't been invented for helicopters yet. So I want to finish, and if you walk away with nothing else, I hope that you walk away with a new mindset toward helicopters. And if you ever get the opportunity to fly in one, you'll take it and experience the thrill of helicopter flight.